marketers, this is the Girls in Marketing podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We are so excited to get started with the episode. Just before we do, we want to give you a little introduction to who we are and what we do. Girls in Marketing is an e-learning platform and online community. We are on a mission to bridge the digital skills gap and equalise gender seniority in marketing. Right, that's enough chat. Let's get into the episode. Let's be honest, when you work in social media, creating content is one of the most time-consuming tasks. I know this for a fact, and I'm sure many of you out there do as well. It's so important to have a tool that can push your productivity and aid your creative process. So before we jump into the episodes, we want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Adobe Express. Adobe Express is a free content creation tool that allows you to design professional templates, social media assets, logos, and a lot of other things as well. What I particularly love about Adobe Express, and something that is super relevant right now to social media and content in general, is that it takes into account video content. So you can resize and merge videos as well as convert videos to different file types, including GIFs. Essentially, making graphics as a marketer has never been easier than it is with Adobe Express. I'd recommend checking it out by going to adobe.com/go/girlsinmarketing or heading to the link in the show notes of this episode. Hello and welcome back to the Girls in Marketing podcast. Today I am joined with Jazveena Sahota. She is the content and social media manager at Slate Teams. She is also a TikTok creator with over 100,000 followers and a social media manager in her spare time when she gets a minute. Today, we are going to be chatting all about TikTok trends, how you can create a TikTok strategy, and so much more. Jazveena is a friend of ours at Girls in Marketing. She has put on masterclasses for us before, as well as just generally got involved with our community. So this is a very exciting chat today, and I hope you enjoy this episode. So, hello. Thank you for coming into the studio today. Very exciting to have you. I want to get started and just go straight into it really and ask you, how did you get to where you are now? What's your story?
What's my story? Okay, I'm going to try and make this short and snappy because it's a bit of a long one. But went to university, did digital marketing, comms and PR at Manchester. Met at a time where like digital marketing was like, you need a Facebook page, you need a LinkedIn profile. Okay. So it wasn't very advanced. Basically, I did anything that I use today, I didn't learn at university. Okay. Did university, moved back to Birmingham, did that typical thing where, you know, you go from job to job trying to break into marketing. Okay. Finally did in a junior role as social media exec, mainly focused on like paid social, which I quite enjoyed. I like the analytics. I like seeing like tangible results, which is something obviously so important in social that a lot of people don't understand. And then from there, progressed to social media manager. And then during COVID, I moved back to Manchester, found a job here, and then was made redundant. Okay. So I started freelancing for a short while, and then along came TikTok. And TikTok, without me, getting too deep into it, is the main reason as to why I'm where I am today. I started an account giving very basic social media marketing tips for small businesses, for people that wanted to break into social media marketing, and it gained attraction. And then I thought, okay, people are liking this content, and let me try and push out some more. I did manage to grow my account 0 to 100k within 6 months. Started generating leads, so people started messaging me on Instagram, emailing me, asking me to help them. Can I do one-on-ones, workshops? So that is kind of like the short snippet as to where I am today, mainly because of TikTok, sharing my knowledge, showing that I understand marketing, social media, putting that into practice. And by people actually seeing that and seeing that I actually know my stuff, resulted in me successfully becoming a freelancer.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think TikTok is, it was the most downloaded app in 2021. And also, I think there was some stat recently that said that it's like surpassed Google or something, which is so crazy.
Yes.
And I think that, you know, you definitely like jumped on the bandwagon of TikTok. Do you remember, so you said, you know, you went from 0 to 100,000 in 6 months, like crazy stats. Do you remember when your account started to kind of gain traction? And maybe was there like, sometimes people talk about, you know, pivotal point or like a certain video or something that you was doing. Do you remember that time and like how it started gaining traction and stuff?
I think I did like a simple video, and it was back in the day when content was very much you can point to text. It was quite simple. I think I did a video, and it was like the different skills you need to work in social media marketing or to become a successful social media manager, and it was very basic. And I think it was like 7 or 8 skills. And I remember I used to go to sleep, I'd wake up and I'd be like, shit, like I've gained 100 followers overnight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, sorry for my swearing, by the way. And I'm like, oh my God, 100 people like watched the video, they enjoyed it. So then I started to think about, okay, well, what else can I make that people might be receptive to?
Yeah.
And there was another one where it was like, Instagram highlights that every small business needs. And I said, you know, services, delivery, returns, policies, about us, that simple stuff that we as people that work in marketing know is a standard. It's like the menu that you'd have on a website. But people who are starting small businesses, marketing isn't at the forefront of their mind. So I thought, let me try and do this. And I did that, and that one got like over 400-500k views. And it was at that point where I thought, okay, sharing valuable, I know everyone says that's a buzzword, but sharing like valuable or advice in small snippet fun ways was doing really well, and that's when I thought, let me try and make more of this.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you say that valuable, because I think, you know, you might not maybe working in marketing think, oh, that's valuable, but actually to someone who has never been exposed to that, or maybe, you know, hasn't really thought too much, like you said, about marketing, that could be really like key to their strategy. Because literally someone could have watched your TikTok and been like, okay, and then they go and do it, and then it completely changes their strategy altogether. And I think what's interesting in social media and stuff is that actually Instagram, and I mean, I have a bit of a bone to pick with Instagram anyway, and I'm sure everyone else listening and you know, everyone else kind of thinks the same because of the algorithms and updates and everything that Instagram always do. But what's interesting is that TikTok was totally new, and it was bringing something, like you said, 100 followers a day. That's kind of like unheard of on the likes of Instagram and stuff. So it's interesting that, you know, a lot of people like yourself and a lot of other accounts kind of jumped on that and really rode that wave of TikTok. Do you think that, you know, that wave is still happening? Or, because I was speaking to someone the other day and they said that like, it's basically, there's no point in creating like a TikTok account anymore because it can't gain traction anymore, which I don't really agree with. But I think maybe what you were saying, you said you can't just point to things and give advice anymore. So maybe it changed to maybe how it was when it launched in like 2020.
Yeah, I think it's definitely evolved. And I think that's because the content that viewers, consumers of the app expect more.
Okay.
So what I've seen a shift in, so the like pointing to text doesn't do as well anymore. The type of content that people make is a lot more advanced. It's a lot vlog style content, or like previously anything that was very polished, like YouTube style content, wouldn't have done well. Whereas I've seen a shift of like the content that people are publishing that is doing well is high quality. It is edited in something like Premiere Pro and not always directly in the app. So I think, again, like with anything, it's evolving, but I think that's because we expect more as viewers. We want more. There's only so far that content is going to get us before we're bored of it and we need something else to try and catch our eye. So yeah, I think it's definitely changed. So I think with that, people might say that, there's no point going on TikTok anymore or trying to grow an account. You just have to see what's doing well now and try and adapt your content creation strategy.
Yeah. I think video is, again, maybe another buzzword, like video and creating content, but video sort of content has been huge in 2021, and people are saying, trends for 2022 and everything like that. And I think that Reels are huge on Instagram at the moment, and I wanted to kind of touch upon that because I think when Instagram brought out Reels, people were a bit like, not really sure. It seems like they're copying a little bit. What are your kind of thoughts on Reels? Because you do tend to post on Reels on your kind of account and stuff. What's your kind of thoughts on that?
Reels, obviously, yes, Instagram is trying to do one over on TikTok and being like, okay, well, they notice a big shift in people moving to TikTok because they wanted that type of content. So they're trying to provide it all within the app. So again, they keep people on the app for longer. I personally think that Reels now feels like TikTok did 18 months ago.
Okay.
So I'm not as receptive to that content because I've been there, done that. I've seen the pointing to text videos. I've seen like the quite like super basic videos, whereas people that never got on the TikTok bandwagon are going to be receptive to Reels because they're like, oh my God, yeah, this is so amazing. Or like, because I spend so much time on TikTok, the things that are trending now on TikTok will be trending on Reels in 3 or 4 weeks' time, and I'm bored of it. I want a new trend.
Yeah.
So Reels for me personally, I never go on the Reels feed.
Okay.
I post Reels because I just repurpose my TikToks, because that's
easy content.
It's easy content, and I don't tend to do a lot of other posting anymore just because I don't have the time or don't feel like I need to. But Reels is putting up a fight. I think naturally, content creators, business owners, they have to adapt, because Instagram's clearly saying, and it is shown, there's figures there to show that if you're using Reels, you're going to get more reach. Your content will perform better if you're using Reels. So I think it just depends on like personal preference. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Reels, but I use it because it's the only type of content that I post on TikTok. Yeah. So I just cross post.
No, I know. I don't think I am a huge fan of Reels, mainly because I don't really consume a lot of content on Instagram anymore, actually, and I don't know if anyone else out there will agree, but I think with the constant updates and changes on Instagram, I think the use of Instagram is like plummeting. Don't quote me on that because I don't know if that's like correct, but I actually found I love TikTok, right? And I think it's so great. You can find amazing things. Travel is amazing. I'm sure you will have been on like Travel Talk. Clean Talk gets me going for like the week, like I'm sound. All these different things, like the day in the life ones where people make them cool, like or even outfit videos. Like I'm here for all of that. I think though TikTok as an app is like very much something that I needed to distance myself from, because I felt like it was genuinely consuming my life. If you looked at my screen time, we were talking about this yesterday, me and some of the girls in the team, and we were saying what's our screen time and talking about that, because recently Martha has deleted TikTok because she was like, no more in my life, no TikTok. And she was like, I hate it because I love it at the same time. But she was like, I need to get back into like, reading and stuff like that. So she said she deleted TikTok. And I was like, I have taken myself away from it a bit because I felt like it was just consuming. Yeah. Because I think the content is so like addictive. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I come from like a more psychological background, so I think that that's really interesting for me to be like, why do I love like scrolling on this app so much?
Yeah.
And people laugh and say, oh, I spent like 3 hours on TikTok, but like that's 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think that would ever really happen on any other social media.
No, I agree. Like for me, everyone goes to TikTok for different purposes. I go to TikTok as like a bit of escapism. So like it's when I want to like I want to watch content that's going to make me laugh or something that's interesting. And I think that's why people can go into a TikTok hole because of the For You page and how the algorithm works and how it knows your behaviour, what content you watch to the end, the type of people you follow. The feed is curated for you in mind, obviously to keep you on the app for as long as possible. But yeah, when I go onto TikTok, I go on there for escapism. I go on there knowing that I'm going to feel good. And no other social media app gives me that feeling. And I think that's why TikTok has a bit of like a chokehold on people, because they feel good things when they're on there. And they also have, like, they experience spontaneous content that they wouldn't expect to consume anywhere else. So I might be, you know, scrolling through my page and there's a load of social media stuff, marketing stuff, but then something comes up and it's like things you can do in London in April. And I'm going to London in April and I'm like, oh my God, amazing. Yeah. So it's little like content nuggets like that that I think are really amazing. And the fact that they're saying, just to drop this in, that in terms of advertising on TikTok, you're now going to be able to target people depending on what they've searched.
Yeah.
In the search term thing. So I just think I'm using TikTok at the moment as like a Google, like a search engine, you know, things to do on a holiday.
Yeah.
And it gives me the content that I need, so I just love it.
Yeah, I think, you know what though, I'm definitely a consumer in that way, because I will do the same. You know, like, I wanted to do this big ASOS shop, like, at the end of last year. I was like, you know, new year, new loads of clothes I should do. And I was like, so I literally typed into TikTok, like, you know, autumn, springy clothes, because I wanted, like, a more generic wardrobe. So I typed that in and there were so many things, and I found this girl on TikTok actually, and I don't know her name, but credit to her because she's really good, and she does like outfit videos, and it's just like, I'm not super extravagant with outfits and stuff, but like they're just really casual, nice outfits, and I was like, this is like how I want to dress.
Yeah.
So I literally followed her and just like consumed so much of her content, and it's just it's crazy. And actually thinking about how crazy TikTok is, I used to follow this other account. It was a girl and a sister, Izar and Zara, I think their names were. Have you seen them before?
She's got like a really little sister.
They're cutest.
So cute.
So cute.
Yeah.
But they closed down their account for a bit, and I think she's got it back up now or something. I literally named my dog Zara with an X because of that girl. Because we just loved the name and she was so cute. And me and my partner used to watch the content all the time, and she was so funny.
Yeah.
And I was genuinely like, I grew to love this Zara as a name, and I was just like, when we got our French bulldog, I was like, let's call her Zara, and my partner was like, yeah, let's do it. And it was just, but then when you think about it, TikTok has literally influenced me that much that I have called my dog from like someone that I've seen on TikTok. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's mad the power that it has. But again, it's a positive experience that you've had.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I think, you know, like with any app, there will be times, or, you know, it will start to evolve and there might be negative things on there, like with anything. But it's very much still a hub of like creativity, fun, and enjoyable content.
I wanted to touch on like just video content in general, because obviously we're talking about TikTok, and what I don't know if you kind of have insider knowledge, or like if you want to share anything about what makes short form like video content so popular. Why do you think that, you know, social media apps are pushing it, because TikTok is, but also why people are consuming it more?
I think that social media for a while had become quite stagnant in terms of like what can you consume, like, and especially for people who have short attention spans, or like I'm someone who if my attention is required, you need it ASAP. I've never been able to read a book to the end. Okay. Like that's like as an example, like unless it hits me from the first page, I'm not like flicking to the next one. So when it comes to content, like we as consumers, we want more content and we want it quicker. Yeah. We want it now. We don't want to have to wait. So I think with short form video content, the strategy to it is to like, obviously you try and hook people in from the very beginning, have something that looks quite aesthetic, interesting, might be controversial, and that's the key into getting someone to actually spend the time and stop and think, actually I'm going to watch this piece of content. But I think it is the big thing is that people don't have the attention spans that they used to because of social media. So when you've got short form video content, if you know that you're going to go on TikTok, you're going to scroll for 10 minutes and potentially watch like 30 good videos, you're going to, like, more people are going to want to do that. It's like Vine. Vine was so great. I think it was 7-second videos where they couldn't monetize the platform, so it disappeared. So TikTok is literally just another evolution of Vine, but just way better.
And then, typically, if you think about, marketing from a longer point of view and like blogs and stuff like that, the evolution of the internet is crazy. And, years ago, people might have went on, just on Google or a search engine and searched like top, holiday destinations or top things to do in April, like you said, or top things to do in London. They go on it, they go on this blog, and it's like this, 1,000-word blog of like all these different things. And I mean, it's good, but like it was last updated like, 5 years ago and like all that sort of stuff. And, you can tell that it's like on a website that like they're maybe the travel and tourism, or they're like a hotel, so they're going to like say their hotel. Whereas I think TikTok and content like that provides an unbiased, but also interesting and informative kind of way. And I think a lot of businesses are using TikTok to their advantage, especially those that kind of like started in the lockdown and like they've kind of grown and done like absolutely amazing. One in particular that I spoke to recently for a secret project that we're working on, but I don't think it will be secret when this goes out, was Brownie God. So they are a like brownie, are so good. They've got like 500k on TikTok. And I was chatting to the founder of that, and we were talking about the craze of TikTok and everything. And she literally said before the pandemic, before TikTok, they were just like a small bakery from literally her kitchen. It was her, and she was just like in a kitchen, just cooking brownies. And now she's got like a full on, I don't know what you call it, like a factory, like a supply chain. She's got everything going on. And it's crazy because TikTok's had that effect on her business, and I know it's had an effect on a lot of other businesses as well.
So Brownie God, she's someone who I started to follow her, I think when she had like 30 or 40k followers, because I work in social media marketing, I could appreciate her content and what she's trying to do. I used her in an example in one of my workshops as like what a business can do, or how a business can leverage a trend to drive awareness about their own business. And her content is amazing. I can share the same appreciation for what Brownie God's accomplished. And this is what I think people don't understand, the scale of what TikTok can do for businesses. In terms of driving that awareness, it's the awareness that it gives people. TikTok can give you 100k views in 24 hours. You can't do that on Instagram unless you're putting ad budget behind it. Right, which is that's what the problem is. But the scale that companies can grow, or small businesses can grow via TikTok, is insane. And I think it's that consistency as well of like just constantly showing up and providing, you said before, like valuable content is something that it goes amiss on maybe other platforms, but on TikTok it's so like authentic and transparent. And like Brownie Gods in particular, they show behind the scenes of like people making the brownies. We talked a little bit about the really funny TikTok that they did. If people are listening and haven't seen it, it was like funny things that people have put on brownies. I don't know if you've seen it, but it was like some really rude stuff, and it was so funny because it made me laugh, because I was like, this is content that is just like you wouldn't typically see. And that's something that's in the back end of like their Shopify e-commerce store, and no one else would see that, but because they're kind of putting it out on there and no one's getting into trouble because it's like anonymous and stuff, it's just really great. It's good. I love it.
So I want to talk a little bit about the creative and like practical processes for TikTok. So we spoke about the fact that you've got like over 100,000 followers, which is crazy. And, you know, you said you started and it's evolved over time. But what is your kind of like process for creating TikToks, for creating short form content? And like, is there any times that what's the creative process behind it?
So I think everyone will kind of find their own kind of jig. For me, and I'm talking like not as much now because I'm not creating as much content as I would like to, because I'm doing it for other people. But I'm a big advocate in order to create, you have to consume. Right, so you have to consume content. If you don't consume content, you don't know what is working for other businesses or what is working on the app. So consume content, see what's going on, see what trending songs are, see the style of people's videos. And then the second one is do your research on the hashtags. Go into TikTok, go into the Discover page and put in search terms that people might be looking at to try and discover your type of content or the content you try and plan out. And then I know we say content pillars all the time, but if you can plan out like your content pillars or little topics that you would like to talk about, you can then branch off onto them and think about ideas. For me, that is the process that I've taken in my own business and when I've helped and supported other businesses to try and grow their TikToks. And then when it comes to the actual creation, there's loads of different styles, but a big one which you've obviously seen and I've seen is like small little vlogs. And these for me, in terms of like promoting yourself or showing up and showing your business, a bit of behind the scenes, they're probably one of the easiest types of video to create, because all they are is like 3-4 second clips of like your day, which I'm making one for this actual podcast today. And then you merge them together and do a voiceover. Yeah. And it's so simple and easy. And that's just one type of style that is doing really well at the moment, because people are interested in, okay, well, what does this person get up to in the day? What
you said before, like the little, I thought it was interesting that you referred to the search bar as like the search engine, because that's not something I've ever thought of before. But I suppose if you want to create a TikTok about a day in the life of someone who works in marketing, typing that into the search bar, seeing what else does well.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like common sense, but maybe it wasn't for me before you just said that. And equally, the vlog style stuff. There's a girl who does TikTok. I'm sure you'll be aware of her, but she's Scouse. Her name's Emma Matthew. I can't remember her second name. It's like Matthew something. She does like what I eat in a day. And she's been doing it for ages. I don't know how many followers she's got now, but she must have like hundreds of thousands. And basically every single video she does some like get ready with me and stuff, but most of them are literally like what I eat in a day. And it's so interesting because like I'm so interested in like what other people eat.
It's very much like you do have to just try and figure out and see, okay, well, what are people receptive to? You don't want to create content just for people, because I think that's what I fell into. I was creating content with just my audience in mind, and it wasn't necessarily making me happy.
Yeah.
So you do have to try and like, if you've got an account and as you grow, you'll learn to maybe adjust. And I would try, if you're someone who is like focusing just on a business, try and show a bit of your personal side as well, because people love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to talk about TikTok strategy for businesses, because I'm sure that there'll be people out there now, you know, they might be in work right now, or I don't know where they'll be, but you know, what would you say is like the top kind of tips for creating a strategy? Obviously you've said like be personal, but is there any other things that you can think of for people to kind of help them with creating a TikTok strategy? Because maybe they're working somewhere, they're being tasked with like a TikTok account or a TikTok strategy, and I think sometimes it can get overwhelming because just like, where do I even begin? But yeah, I don't know if you've got any tips.
So I try and tell people is that when you're thinking of TikTok and content to make, I say TikTok can play a really key part in like your marketing strategy in terms when it comes to your marketing funnel. I don't want to use too many buzzwords, but in terms of, so when you're a new business, you're trying to drive awareness, right? So you're trying to you're trying to tell people about your business and people that you think may like your business. And that's where TikTok can play a really key part. So when you're creating content, think about, okay, well, if someone was walking down the street, you wouldn't say to them, hey, this is my business, can you buy a product? What would you tell them to try and get them to that stage? And that's the type of content that you can try and make. And it doesn't have to be like, hey, you know, we're a service-based provider and this is what we can do for you. There's really cool, fun ways that you can try and get that message across. So again, like I said, like consume and research, I would really focus on like that awareness type of content, because it's that type of content that will get people interested, and people will start to, you'll see that you might start to grow a following on Instagram through TikTok. Like people use TikTok a lot to drive traffic elsewhere, to other places where they're trying to get their customers. So like to podcasts or websites, newsletter signups. So in terms of a strategy, it's hard to give like tips and like this is like the one strategy that fits all. But I always tell people to focus on awareness content. Don't be expecting results in terms of, well, I've been on TikTok for a month and I've got no sales or I've got no leads, because that isn't that isn't the sole purpose of TikTok. So think about awareness content, again, consume, have a look what other people are doing, look at competitors on there, because there are brands on there that you will not think are. For example, I came across a TikTok that was from a blind company, like blinds for windows.
Okay. Yeah.
Their videos were so good.
Oh, really?
Sync to the beat. And it was basically, this is how you can put our blinds up in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And I saw that came across on my FYP because I've been looking at home renovation, interior design, and they're using these hashtags in their content. I came across it, went over to their Instagram. I thought, okay, they've got a decent Instagram. Then went onto their website, had a look at their website, and then they retargeted me with ads.
Yeah.
So that's just a little workflow that you can see. If you create content on TikTok, it's where you can potentially get your customers.
Yeah.
And now in terms of them as a business, I'm in their consideration stage.
Yeah.
So when I'm going to get blinds for my house, I'm going to be like, right, I remember blinds by post on TikTok. I'm going to actually see. And they might convert me, I might become a customer.
Yeah.
But that just shows you that by like creating content, which is very much awareness style, how you can get that person to different parts of to different platforms that your business is on, and potentially get them as a customer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they made blinds look pretty sexy on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I was sold.
I always think that happens to me so much.
Yeah.
I see like TikToks of things, and then even if it's like places sometimes, and it's like I seen this like place in London, and I went to London, and I seen it on TikTok first, and it was like, because there's always like waffle places and like there's like hot chocolate places and all that, and I get targeted with them, and when you're actually like in the place, or you see it, you actively go out and search for these places, so even if like you don't physically go in and you don't buy something, you're still like, oh look, that's the place from TikTok. Or like you said, when you are in the position to buy the thing that you've seen, maybe you will buy it, maybe you won't. And I think that's why it's difficult for business owners to calculate like ROI, which typically, we talk a lot about in marketing, like ROI and like KPIs and all these like buzzwords and stuff, but genuinely it's so hard to calculate that return on investment for businesses, for marketers as well, and to just prove that it's doing what it should be doing. So it's interesting that you said go with more of an awareness strategy, so that actually it doesn't matter if you're driving sales. If anything, the sales are a bonus rather than expected.
And I think that's what's really key, because there will be, if you've got bigger companies, there might be senior people in the leadership team thinking, what's the point in TikTok? Is it going to drive any business? And that's why I say you can only really put efforts into TikTok, one, if you've got resourcing for it, because if you don't have resourcing for it and you're not going to do it well, or you're going to struggle and you're going to think, what's the point? But in terms of like, people can't expect to get tangible sales or leads from it, it's a bonus. That's why it's very much creating awareness, and that's what they have to understand. Like, a company has to be bought into that fact. And if they're not bought in, it's going to make it difficult for the marketing team or the social media team that are trying to push that platform. It's a luxury platform to be on. If a brand's on TikTok, they've obviously can either pay to have resourcing and externally, or they've got a team internally that can help them. But it's definitely a luxury platform to be on.
So the ultimate question is, how difficult was it to grow your following on TikTok? So we talked about the fact that you've got like so many followers now, which is great. But how difficult was it? Like, how much were you posting? Like, how difficult was that for you? Because I feel like you just said it was overwhelming and time consuming. Yeah. Was that for you? Like,
Initially, it was when I was freelancing. So I had a lot of free creative time, I want to say. I was posting about 2-3 times a day, which is ridiculous. Yeah. If someone told me you need to post 2-3 times a day, I'd say no thanks, see you later. In like the kindest way possible, because it is, especially the type of content that people want to see now, it's evolved so much. You can't just whack out. I mean, there's some odd videos that you can jump on a quick trend, but it's not just about trends. So I think when I started to gain traction, and then I joined like a company full time again, I struggled to balance. And it's the same with me. I posted yesterday, and before that I hadn't posted for a month. So my account now is like a bit dormant, or it will gain views like a week after I've posted something. But that's just the way of the world, and something that I've got to live with. But there's just, when you get to a certain point, it's difficult to keep up with that momentum, and that's what it is. It's with TikTok, it does require like a consistent pace, a cadence in terms of pushing out content. So yeah, it is. If people are posting on there and they're overwhelmed, 100% you're valid in feeling overwhelmed, because it can be. So it was difficult. Yeah. But I did it. I did aim to try and do it under 6 months. And I think I managed to do it like on Boxing Day. Yeah. Because I started in the June. And so, yeah, it was good. Yeah.
I think if people are looking to kind of do a TikTok strategy, it's not necessarily about like, posting 2 or 3 times a day, but more just being consistent with it. Yeah. So if you say to yourself, I'm going to post twice a week or 3 times a week, it's not necessarily going to be that you'll have hundreds of thousands of views, but you will build, and it's good habits as well, isn't it? I recently read a book actually around habits, and I think, if you want to do this and continue with it, and you want it to be like a sustainable strategy, you've got to build the habits of doing it. Yeah. So even if you don't say, okay, and I think another thing is as well is you can't say to yourself, I'm going to post every day, or I'm going to post twice or 3 times a day, because it's so hard to keep up with. And life gets in the way, and I'm sure that will have happened to you when you were posting 2 or 3 times a day. And I think that's why, if you are a marketer, or you're working for a company or a small business, set realistic goals, and then as you go on, make them a bit harder, make them more challenging. But initially you want to say to yourself, okay, I'm going from posting never on TikTok to, twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, twice a day. I think that's more realistic, and that would be more realistic for me as well.
Yeah, I think it's managing your expectations. You will see people on TikTok that are saying, post 3 to 4 times a day. This is what you need to do. The same way that there's Instagram gurus, there's TikTok gurus, TikTok coaches. And for me, a lot of their tips are quite toxic. They're saying, because people want to grow, people want to be a creator, they want to like monetize a following, and they're preying on these people, and they're saying, follow me for all these tips and blah 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 blah. You do not need to post 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day on TikTok. So if someone's telling you that, you don't need to listen to that. Listen to what you feel like is manageable for you. Yeah. And if you're doing that, then manage your expectations. And think, well, if I can't post every single day, I'm going to post, or like I'm going to batch create. Let me create 4 TikToks in one day, and I'll push them out over the week.
Yeah.
That way you spend an hour or two creating content and it doesn't consume the rest of your week.
Yeah.
You can then just post them as you wish.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't fall for any fake TikTok coach guru hacks, because it's not the vibe.
There was a quick, before we kind of round up, there was a quick tip that I found, and I can't remember for the life of me who said it, but it stuck in my head. And it was, if you're consuming, because you said, you know, consume, when you're consuming, if you find a trend or a video that you think could relate to, you know, your strategy or your business, send it to like yourself. So that's what I do now, is that if I'm scrolling and I'm consuming, I'm not in like a business mindset in like I'm looking for sounds or videos.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling, and maybe it's like the sound or like the trend or something, and I like send it to myself, and then I like make a little note of like how I think it could relate to what I want to post.
Yeah.
And then you can then go and batch create the content, because I found it was so difficult to like just come up with 10 videos at once.
Yeah.
Whereas if you spend a few weeks just like scrolling, sometimes sending yourself the videos, almost kind of forget about it, and then you go back to it and you're like, all these ideas are so great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is that's a good thing, and something now that all accounts should have is, when you favourite a piece of content, you should be able to add it to a folder. So what I do now is, if I see a trend and I'm like, okay, I like this trend, I don't know how I can apply it to my niche, but I know that I'll be able to, is I'll favourite it and add it to like a trends board.
Okay.
It's a bit like Pinterest, when you can add pins to a board. And then when I go to create content, they're all there for me.
Okay.
All the different videos. Same way that if I want travel tips, I can save loads of videos, favourite them. So I've got a travel tips board.
Okay.
So that it's just a way of organising, like, and like food. I mean, not recipes, because I'm not a cook. Yeah, I'll go to restaurants. Restaurants, yeah, food talk, stuff like that. But that's something that people can do, is if they're seeing trends and they want to try and organise and try and plan how they could maybe use them, they can favourite them to a board.
Yeah. Fab. Well, thank you so much for joining today. Before we finish, I've got one question, because we ask everyone this question, and it is, do you have a motivational mantra that gets you rearing, ready for the day, gets you up in the morning, something that you can share with people just for a little bit of a pick-me-up?
So my motivational mantra, it's a song.
Okay.
And it's basically, this is a bit cringe, but my song is Drake, Headlines.
Okay. You can sing it if you want.
No, just we'll skip past that bit. I'll do it for that off camera. But it's Drake, Headlines.
Okay.
And that song, like, is very much about, like, not caring what people think. Like, if anyone's ever doubted you, ignore them, like, look at me, look at where I am now. And it sounds really cringe, but that song really like motivates me, because I feel like a bit of a not sub story, but like in my life growing up, because of the person that I am, or my personality, or how I come across, like educationally, in institutions, like family, friends have always kind of doubted me and they've always thought, she's not really going to make it, or like, you know, she just wants nice things and she hasn't really got the personality that can bring on a professional career.
Okay.
And listen to that song is a bit like saying, you know, no thanks for your opinion, I've got to where I am by 100% like unapologetically being me. Yeah. And what I actually do now, which I would recommend anyone to do, is whenever you feel like you've achieved something in your life, that is something that you didn't think would happen, or it's like a big win for you, dedicate a spot somewhere to write it down, whether that's at your desk, on your phone, in a note section, because there's so many times that I will think I'm not where I need to be, or I'm not where I want to be. And when that happens, I'll open that section in my phone and I'll think about everything that I've achieved, and I'll be like, you know what? I'm doing a pretty good job.
I'm sick.
Yeah, I am sick. And I think that's something that, I think just us as a generation of like millennials, Gen Z, we're not very self-congratulatory, and we don't like embrace our wins. But by doing that, like every single morning, putting on my little motivational song, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I've actually done pretty well so far in life, and I'm going to continue to add to this wins list.
Yeah.
And that is like my long-winded motivational mantra.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining today.
No problem.
It's been so nice to have you. Right, that marks the end of another great episode. We really hope you enjoyed tuning in today. And if you did, please share with your friends, rate us on Apple Podcasts, follow us on Spotify, and watch the video version on YouTube. We've got so many exciting things coming, so we really love for you to get involved. See you soon.